All right, everyone. Today's episode is all about creating buzz, big media buzz for yourself, for your brand, for your thought leadership, whatever it is that you have going on, because we have an incredibly gifted, talented kind of a media queen. She has done a lot. We're going to talk about that. And join me in welcoming Jennifer Oliva to our show.
Thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here, Midori.
Yeah, so I'm going to brag on you a little bit because your background is extensive. You're not just a publicist or a PR person. You have over 25 years experience on the other end of it, being a TV producer. And then you all listen in. It's not just a TV producer. Jen has worked for Bloomberg, for the Today Show, for NBC, for Fox News. She's done it all. She's covered presidential elections. She has helped brands launch. She has she has been part of an interview with the King of Jordan, all kinds of stuff. So what I love about you, Jen, is that you have taken all these years of experience and now you're on the other side helping brands and people and products with publicity and PR. And so we're going to dive into your wisdom and learn everything we possibly can from you in the next 20 minutes. You ready?
Perfect. I'm all ready.
Okay, perfect. So tell us, how did you get to where you are? What made you decide to make that transition and go in and become an entrepreneur?
So it really happened very organically. I started my career, as you said, in news. I was a news producer for 25 plus years, covering everything from the White House to business stories to political campaigns, and kind of a news junkie. It gets in your blood if you're in news. And I loved it. I loved it. It became second nature to me. But what happened to me, and I think happened to a lot of people, is when COVID happened, we all started working from home. And all of a sudden, things changed. The world it closed down, but my world was able to expand in that I was able to kind of see my kids, put them to bed at night in a way that I wasn't before. News is very much 24/7. You are rarely home. When you are, you're usually too tired. And so with COVID, with all of the bad, horrible things that came along with COVID, the sort of one silver lining that I found was that I got to spend more time with my family. And after things started opening up, I decided I wanted to continue that. And I wanted to find a way to use my experience and my background in a way that would feel organic and natural to me, and where I could sort of set my own hours and work for myself. Now, I never, ever planned on being an entrepreneur. It was not something you think about. When you're in news, you think about getting to the network level, then you think about going to the next network. And I originally thought I would just move on to another network. And then friends started to ask me my advice on how to get them in the media, what their stories should be, what their angles should be, what would be a good media placement that would feel sort of organic and connect to their clients. And I started helping them just kind of on the side. And then what happened was we started getting more and more success. They started recommending me to people. And all of a sudden I had a business without even realizing it. And it just has took off from there. And one day I realized, oh, okay, I'm a publicist. And I realized that everything I learned in all those years in media, being on the other side of the camera, being in the newsroom, I could parlay that into PR, and I could use that to get my clients the coverage that they wanted. I could use that to get them hooked in to the media that they wanted to be a part of, that they wanted to be on. And it kind of has been an incredible journey so far, and I feel like it's just getting started.
It makes complete sense, right? Because obviously you have connections, but I don't think that's really what you leverage so much. It's more about, you know how to talk to the people who make the decision to allow you or to invite you to be on the channel or on the media platform first off, right? And what to say, how to position your client in a way that they shine through. Okay, and let me just give you all a little disclosure. I've known Jen for a bit, and she gives me advice all the time. First thing she told me, she's like, okay, we need to redo all your pictures. So she knew, I've had professional photo shoots, but Jen knew that the way that I was presenting myself wasn't in alignment with who I am today, and that it's critical for me to change that look to share the right story. And so let's dive in right now to some of the things. I mean, there's so many other things that you've told me too, and it's like, okay, I'm going to just listen and do. Let's talk about some of the things that people should be doing to help them get in front of the TV, and if they want to get on a TV show or in an important magazine. What are some of the tips that you have for them?
So there's a few. Well, I'm going to start with just 3 for you guys. The first thing I would say is own your lane. You can't be an expert in everything. Don't try to be. That dilutes you. It dilutes your brand. It dilutes your expertise. Nobody is going to book you as a generic expert. You need to own your lane. You need to own your expertise in a specific area, and then there's really no stopping you. The second thing I would say is to know what you stand for. You were just talking before about your brand and how your pictures before didn't align sort of with your brand and the story you were trying to tell. And I think it's very important to, when you're working with a publicist, or if you're not working with a publicist, if you are just, doing it on your own, I think you need to be very clear in the beginning who you are or what your company is about, what you stand for, what your ethos is. And it has to feel organic. It has to feel real, because if it doesn't, the viewers and the readers can sense it. They know it comes across. So you have to really know your brand, know your expertise, and stick to it. And third, I would say, what makes your company unique? What makes you unique? There are, for every sort of career out there, there are millions of people doing it, hundreds of thousands of people doing it. You need to hone and drill down to what makes you stand out. What makes you different? What's your hook? Why would the media want to cover you? Why would they want to talk to you? Maybe it's that you are let's say if you are, I have a good example. Okay. I was working with a financial advisor, and there's a lot of them out there, right? There's, you don't know if you want to go with a big company, you don't want to go with sort of small mom and pop places, but you want to go with someone you trust first, right? So trust when it comes to that is very important, but you also want to go with somebody who you can relate to and is focused on what you care about. So if you focus on sort of one area, if you have that one expertise, then I can sell you like that to the media. People will seek you out for that expertise. The media will seek you out. The more and more placements we get, the more they will they build on each other, and they will want to book you, and they'll see you in print, and they'll read you online, and then they'll decide that you're the expert they want for this. So it kind of builds. But the idea is that you are the one to go to, and it's because you specialize. So I told this man that I'm working with, we need to, I know you know a lot about finance, but what are the clients that you really like to help? What are the ones where their story resonates with you and you have had great success with. And we are going to brand you as the financial analyst or the financial advisor for those people, for empty nesters now, maybe, who are, going out into the world. And I could spin a million stories for a financial advisor on somebody dealing with empty nesters. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Okay, there's so much there. Because one, it's marketing, right? I tell my clients all the time that, a new entrepreneur will come to me, or we see them out there where they have a billboard up saying, I help you build a website. You help who? You help who build a website? What kind of website? Is it for, chickens? What is it for, right? And if they don't have a niche, it's harder to trust them, because are they going to nail it for me, or are they too generalized? And usually it's too generalized. But when you can find someone who says, I help this exact person, I help women over 40 who are going through menopause lose weight by changing their workout, or whatever, but just the more niche down you can get, the better, right? And so I totally agree with you. So that's marketing. But it goes into PR, which I love that you shared that. Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit more. Let's kind of dive into some more. What are some do's and don'ts when it comes to getting on TV?
Okay. First thing I would say is that you want to be providing information, right? You want to be providing a service almost. The media will book you for things or include you in articles if you are giving information, something useful that their readers, their viewers can use. Like they used to call it news you can use. That is really the name of the game. Like, you need to not think about promoting yourself so much. You need to think about answering a problem or giving guidance to the viewer or the reader. That brings value, and that's what's going to get you booked.
It's going to get you booked, and booked more than once, I would guess. So that makes total sense. I've had people, so what I love about you, Jen, is that you can take an idea, you can tease it out, and then you can repackage it so that it's more appealing, right? To the right producer or whoever it may be. I've had PR people say to me, Midori, you have to go out there and do something amazing. You have to go, turn the world upside down, and then come back to us and we'll help you. That's when I'm talking to people who are really high level. They won't even bother with anything, because I don't believe that they have the talent that you have. It's really kind of I think it's in your DNA now, quite frankly, Jen, from doing it for so long, that you know how to craft that and what you need from the person. When you and I talk, you're like, oh no, Midori, okay, here's what I need from you. I need you to add this in. I need you to take that out. That word is wrong. And it really truly is a gift, because I've told you this before. I know way too many people who spent gazillions of dollars on a PR agency that gets them crickets. And it's the most mind-blowing thing to me. It's so, it hurts my heart, because we're doing this for a reason. We think we're doing the right thing. We're investing, and then you hear crickets. So talk to me a little bit more, Jen, about when should we be doing it ourselves? Or actually, let me rephrase this question. What's the difference between DIY, I'm going to go get myself in a magazine or on TV, versus hiring the right strategic PR or publicist person for us?
Let me start with, you could get yourself, if you're doing it yourself, you could probably get yourself on TV once. Maybe you get yourself on your local, affiliate in the, wherever you happen to be, or your local newspaper picks you up or covers you for something. That is not a media strategy. That is not lasting. That is not going to get you to where you want to be. The idea of PR, the idea of working with a publicist is that you have someone who, number one, helps you hone your strategy, right? Helps you hone your message, works out a strategy for getting you, not only getting you on TV or getting you in print, digital, podcasts, whatever, but the right ones. That is extremely important. And I think that that is something that a lot of people, even other PR agencies or publicists, sort of don't weigh as heavily as I think they should. I think where you are, what media you are placed with is just as important as what you're saying when you get there. Mm-hmm. Let me explain. If you want to hit your target audience, you want to be in and with a media outlet and on a media outlet that is reaching your target audience, that aligns with sort of your ethos, and I don't mean politically one way or the other. I don't mean that at all. I mean in terms of what they are about. Is it a lifestyle show on your local network? Is it a morning show? Is it an article in U.S. News, on tax prep that you wanted to get out there? One of my clients, we just had her in U.S. News and World Report because it's tax day, just came and went, right? And I knew that I needed to hook some of the stories that we were going out and presenting her as the expert on to talk about things that are impacting people right now. And right now it was taxes. I mean, for the last few weeks, people are focused on their taxes, right? So we talked to each other. I thought about, what is it that if I was reading this, what I would want to know, what as a reader is useful for me, like what's important information that I walk away from interacting with that media and I've learned something. I'm better in some way. I have some more things under my belt. I've increased my knowledge in whatever area. And so I thought about, for me, like, what would I want to know if I was reading that? And so I asked her, like, what are 4 tips that people don't think about when they are, writing their taxes or when they're putting in receipts? What's something they should think about? So I think it's important to work with a publicist or PR company if you want strategy behind what you're doing, which is a big part of it. If you want to target the correct media and then build your presence in the media, because what you're doing by being an expert in the media and being interviewed by the media on TV and on podcasts is you are building your brand awareness. You are driving clients to you organically in a way that advertising doesn't. You are positioning yourself as the expert or the go-to in whatever your field is or whatever it is your company does. And you can't buy that kind of exposure, really.
Let's talk about that a little bit more, Jen. So the difference between advertising and PR, because I think that's a critical difference that can not make or break you, but it can make a big difference in how you spend your money, right? And the impact that you get.
Yeah.
So let's tease that out a little bit. So we can go out and we can pay for a magazine ad, or we can go out and hire a publicist who really knows what they're doing. And I'm going to encourage all of you to do your research and make sure you get the right person for what you want. And so what in the person's mind who is consuming the media, whether they're reading, let's say they're looking at the ad versus reading an article that's about you.
Yeah, there's a huge difference. And this is something that I think people might not realize. So when a lot of people have in companies have advertising budgets, set aside, they plan that. That's sort of something they know. But don't necessarily have budgets for PR. Or if they do, they're very small, or they're just about social media. They're not about actual PR. So the thing is that when you're placing an ad for something, whether it is on, TV, digital, podcast, or whatever, it's you selling yourself. You are paying for that advertisement, that advertorial about yourself. It's you saying that, you're the best contractor out there. You're the financial, AAA financial, whatever it is. That only carries so much weight. When the media uses you as an example and as the expert and positions you as such, it's a third-party endorsement that you absolutely cannot buy. It is this trusted source, whether it's your trusted newspaper that you read, your trusted podcast that you listen to, or TV show that you watch. It is the people who have done their homework, looked into this, found the real experts, and are going to them for that information, are going to them for that product, or talking about their product. So that is, to me, it is, and I think people understood that better, they would realize it too, that to me is such a better investment wise, because number one, it's not a one-off. You're not just placing an ad, pouring all your ad money there and then it's gone. Somebody flips through it and then it's gone. It is building your exposure in people's thoughts and minds as you go as the expert. And I mean, that you just can't put a price on. That is setting you up to be the expert and the go-to and the item that they want to buy. And they might not even realize consciously why, but they've seen you, they've heard you, they've heard, their trusted news source using you as an expert and talking about you. And that's a third-party endorsement right there.
Totally. And it's the SEO, right? So
Yeah.
someone searches for whatever, you're likely to come up higher if you're associated with one of these big media brands, right? And then you have that association and you didn't even have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Right? Well, kind of in a roundabout way, but yes.
But you not paying for it is what makes it legit.
Yes.
So you can pay for anything out there, right? You could pay for, but what we do is called earned media. So you could pay to put an ad in whatever, you could pay for someone, but they call what we do earned media because it's editorially sound. There's something behind it that makes them want to cover it. There's enough substance and enough expertise and enough interest and information that makes them want to cover it. So that it's on a whole other level than advertising.
Okay. So now I want to kind of switch. Well, actually, I don't know if we're switching gears, but we're turning it and we're making it about me because it is my show. So I'm going to have you do an example. And I did not prep you for this at all, but I just thought about it. I'm like, oh, this will be fun. Okay, for me. So, and hopefully for the listeners, I'm hoping that you'll get some, I know that you'll get some benefit from this because I want to talk about thought leadership, right? So, Jen, that Jen is someone who has helped myself and another woman, Shalini Videra, with a large retreat that we have coming up for business women. And so it's about thought leadership. I want you to let's pretend I came to you, Jen. I'm like, okay, here, I want to hire you. I want to be positioned in the media as the thought leader for women around the globe.
Okay.
On helping them play bigger and to help them with helping one another to lift each other up. And we're opening big doors for these women so they can play at a level that they never thought was possible, right? So I want to kind of leverage that. And I know that I did not phrase that very well, but how would you use PR, publicity? What would it take to help me, Midori Verity, who let's say I haven't had any media, become seen as a thought leader in this arena?
So first, what we would do is, it's a stepping stone approach. So you need to build your exposure in the media. You know, you don't just start out your very first time on GMA, because for a few reasons. Number one is you need to get some experience in front of the media, right? You need to get comfortable, you need to get experience. The producers from GMA need to vet you. They need to have seen you other places. They need to have seen you in other articles. They're going to do their due diligence to make sure that you are the real deal. So part of my job in working with you as your publicist is to make you the real deal, to give you that track record and that resume, almost that media resume, so that that backs you up as the real deal. And so we would start with getting you on some local stations, and I would hook it. This is one thing that I think it's because of my news background that I believe in working with the news, right? Not going against the news. Basically what you're doing is looking for news hooks that I can use to position you and to place you on things that are like going on in the world today. So for example, if there is, let's say, if a new study had come out talking about something about, for female entrepreneurs, the amount of money they're able to raise versus male entrepreneurs, and how that is such a smaller percentage, and like, why is that, what is going on, and there was facts and figures and numbers and a new survey that came out on it. You were the perfect expert to talk about that. That aligns with your values, it aligns with your brand, it aligns with your expertise. So I would use that as the hook to help position you and place you with different media around that story. So you're not fighting the news cycle, you're going with the news cycle, which is, I think, a better way to do it. It's more organic. It makes more sense. You are not kind of pushing something on producers and writers and editors. You are giving them something that they need and that their viewers might be interested in, and that relates to what is going on in the world today. And that's kind of, I think, a big difference, and something that people need to keep in mind when they're looking to place people.
So you get me the placement, and I go on and I just start answering questions. Is there something that I should know before I go in and just start blasting out whatever I think should come out of my mouth?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, I'm going to media train you. That is key. You want to make sure you get media trained by a professional, somebody who knows how to help you craft your words into sound bites that people, that the media can use, that are easily digestible for the viewers and the readers. You only get a certain amount of chances for these, and if you don't have your story, your sense of product, or what you want to get across, or your answers down in an easily digestible, informative way, then they are not going to reach the people you want. People are not going to listen. They're not going to be able to find a soundbite they want to use. They're not going to, have people change the channel. We want to get you prepared, number one, so that you are comfortable on camera, which is huge. People trust you more when you seem more comfortable. If you are uncomfortable in front of the camera, doesn't matter how good you are at your job or whatever it is you happen to do, you are automatically less trustworthy. You need to be comfortable in front of the camera, and then you can give your expertise on something. So we would absolutely media train you before I let you loose.
I feel like that was a little message directly to me. Okay, that's good. I get it. I own that. Okay, perfect. So one, we're gonna get you on shows that are, or we're going to take your message and make sure it's in alignment with what's going on in the media right now.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, we're going to start you out on smaller shows or in smaller magazines so that you build up some muscle and you build up some skills, right?
Yep.
Then before that, actually, you're going to do some media training. And then, fast forward, because I'm guessing I can be on a number of shows and still not have thought leadership. So what are the steps that need to happen? What are the things that need to occur for someone to finally be seen as, hey, I've seen her a few times and I think she's about this topic. How does someone establish that? Because that's that's where the gold is, right? When you have that, then you can get on bigger stages, you can get on bigger shows, you can sell your products a hell of a lot easier, right? To me, that's so powerful. And I know a lot of people who this is what they've done. That's where they put all their eggs, was into publicity and PR. I'm not saying that's right for everybody, but I'm saying that was their approach, and it worked beautifully for the right brand, the right person, all of that. But talk to me a little bit more about the longevity of this and how we create a strategy. And you've said some of this, kind of pull it together for me.
So it's not a one and done. It's a partnership. It should be a partnership with your publicist. You are a team. You are working together and you are building momentum and building that resume like we talked about. So you want a good year at least under your belt, and then you keep going, because you can always build and add to it. But ideally, you want a good year under your belt with the publicist so that you can build your strategy, you can build your exposure, you can have that consistency in the media. Like, it's not, like I said, it's not going to get you very much if you were on one show once, or one show one time, another show 10 months later. There's no momentum. You want to build momentum and you want to keep it going. And part of that is bringing fresh stories and ideas to you. You can't you don't want to be going on and doing the same thing. It can all still be under your umbrella and your expertise. And it will be focused on whatever it is that you are an expert on, but there are different ways to go about it and different stories that can get attached to it where you are a good fit for, and which help to grow sort of your background and your exposure. So it's not a one and done. It is a relationship that builds, which then builds your brand and your exposure. And the idea is that, think of some of the biggest brands out there. They still have their publicists that they work with, or the biggest celebrities out there. They don't just stop once they become a celebrity. They don't stop when they become, big. They want to stay in the public eye. They want to stay, big companies want to stay in the public eye. They want to stay relevant and talking about what's happening now and their products, and the importance of their products. They want to keep getting the customers that, they want to keep drawing them in. So it's really a team effort, and it's working together consistently to get the kind of results that you want.
I can see a couple different things with that. One is keeping you relevant, right?
Yeah.
But number two, what you said was, when we're running a business, when we're a celebrity, when we're doing whatever it is, we're freaking busy. We're busy doing what we are gifted at, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you have the right publicist or PR person, you're staying in your lane, focusing on what's going on in the media, what's going on in the news, where are these angles, what just happened on at the Oscars or whatever, and how can I tie my client in there? So what I'm guessing is if there is a tie, you'll reach out and say, oh, Midori, this just happened. I need you to talk about these three things and help us kind of tweak it so that it's relevant. And we're going in with a powerful message.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's part of my job, is to be up on what the news is, and to think creatively about how you could address that or be connected to that or give some information about that and how we could tie it to that. I mean, that's like a big part of it. You want none of us are living in a bubble, okay? We're all, and news writers, producers, anchors, reporters, podcasters, they're living in the world just like you and me. So when things are happening in the news, that's what they're aware of too, and what they want to cover and be talking about. So part of my job is knowing what's in the news and then knowing how I can combine your expertise with whatever is happening in the news to make a story timely, newsworthy, which is really important, and to get you out there, to keep you in the sort of headlines, to keep you under the limelight.
And one other thing, just to wrap this up, is that another thing that I know from running businesses for so long and working with so many people who are entrepreneurs or leaders is that if you don't have someone who's representing you, you aren't taken as seriously, right? So if I'm reaching out to I might be able to get into the local news by myself, sure. But if I want to get into something that's has more visibility, if I'm trying to do it myself and I don't have a lot behind me that I've already built up, like you were saying, for like a year, they ain't going to pay attention to me. And so that's just, not that I'm trying to sell, hiring a PR person or a publicist. I'm just trying to point out the impact that someone can bring, because I'm all about helping specifically women play bigger. And in order to play bigger and achieve incredible, impactful things, we have to know the secrets behind it. These aren't such secrets, but often what I see with so many people is they spread themselves so thin, trying to do so many things. Okay, I'm going to do some Google AdWords. Oh, but I better do some Facebook ads too. And maybe I'll pay for some podcast advertising too. And I need to do some blogs, I need to do some SEO. It gets overwhelming. And this is what I see so often. We spread ourselves so thin, we spend a bunch of money, and it all falls flat. So really, I think what my message is pick what seems like it'll be the most impactful for you, unless you have a ton of money that's just burning a hole in your pocket, which I want you to have. But if that's not the case yet, figure out what is going to position you the best with the most impact. And PR and publicity may possibly be the thing. And so that's why I wanted to have this conversation with you, because again, I want to peel back the curtains so people can see what it takes and to do it correctly and not waste time, not waste money. So thank you so much, Jen, for being here with us. But tell us, where can we find more information about you and your company?
Well, first, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation. And I hope that your listeners find it helpful. You can find me at Jen Oliva, JenOliva media.com, or on Instagram at Jen Oliva Media.
All right. Go check her out. At the very least, go see what she's posting and learn from her and see how she's taking her clients through. She's a wealth of information, and I'm wishing you all huge publicity, huge thought leadership, huge product launches. Good luck out there. Take care. To be the best, you need to play with the best. You might not have your own personal high-level circle of women yet, But you can hang with us on the Female Millionaire Show. I'm Midori, serial entrepreneur for over 25 years, and I interview badass female founders and cut through to what you really need to know. So in 20 minutes, you have what can take years to learn. If you're wanting to play bigger, come play with us. Join the female entrepreneur revolution today. Cheers.